What happens if it turns the corner like this?
It turns together?
The caster kicks in again.
Yes.
The caster kicks in, and then the camber changes too. This one has a slightly larger pad area.
Ah, this means that the volume itself, which can hold the area of the disc, is bigger.
The disc area gets bigger.
There's the knuckle. And this structure is fastened from the side, meaning the middle is just connected with bolts like this.
That's right, exactly this.
Method. So then...
This part will bear a heavy load.
But you see, it's not that structure. The structure coming down here actually goes all the way through the inside.
That's right, and the end part here is also closer to the vertical point coming down.
So...
There's a slight difference in that design.
Hello, this is Yopmyok Gorum.
Hello, this is Gomisu.
When we evaluated the best suspension among mid-size SUVs, one of them was definitely the Grand Koleos.
That's right, the Grand Koleos leads domestic mid-size SUVs.
Is it the top?
Yes.
So what I was really curious about is this new model. What kind of car is it?
Now, Philante,
of
course it's cool.
I really wanted to see Philante's undercarriage. Even on the channel, many people were already asking, please, Captain, analyze the undercarriage quickly, before the test drive review even came out.
There were a lot of these requests.
Today, Philante, what standards should we look at?
First of all, I had really high expectations for Philante. And it's also a car that was on my wish list.
You were thinking of buying it too, right?
But now it's not what I expected.
The chief was eyeing a full-size SUV.
He wanted it, so I figured he'd size up.
Because he also uses the third row.
But honestly, I personally didn't have high expectations. Yeah, that's how it was. Anyway, the premium strategy, does this car really offer enough value for the extra 5 million won compared to the Grand Koleos?
Is it enough? Then, the chassis of the Grand Koleos, which has a traditional SUV style, we gave it a good review, and the market doesn't lie either.
That's right. At first it got a ton of criticism. That's true.
Honestly, we've uploaded a lot of videos while running this channel, and it's true that this car got the most criticism ever.
It was the Grand Koleos, but since it's good, it sells.
Today, we'll closely inspect the Philante's undercarriage, which we've been curious about.
Yes. Let's quickly check the exterior. We always discuss build quality, right?
Recently, a new trend has emerged.
Build quality.
Yes.
When it comes to build quality, at this level, it's usually about the same as the typical warning triangle.
Yes. You mean it's razor sharp, right?
What are the drawbacks of these cars? The panel gaps are intense.
The panel gaps look really angular, that's why. You're saying they're more obvious, right?
Yes, but Renault has always been good at this. I explained this with our Grand Koleos too. Renault doesn't have much panel gap, so if you look, everything fits well. Even though the shape bends quite dramatically like this, the panel gaps are really good.
This is an incredible design, isn't it? Now that you mention it, it's not just rugged. No mainstream car has had anything like this.
That's right. In that aspect, they did a really good job. And if you look, the tail lamps in the back all stick out in a three-dimensional way. But the finishing gaps here are also really good. If you look from this side, especially since this is an early production model, it's actually quite impressive for that. I see.
The build quality, including the panel gaps in the visible areas, is really good. And actually, remember when we took a closer look about 2 years ago? Even in the parts you can't see, I said they really did a great job building this car.
That's right.
Even seeing it now, it's still really impressive.
And today, it's a matte car. This is our first time working with matte, so should we take a closer look at it? Matte finishes tend to have a lot of clumping.
Oh, the paint, yes.
Matte paints often look clumpy. But if you look, even though it's matte paint, the texture comes out really well. Renault has had good paint since the old Samsung car days. The paint quality is really good. The appearance, considering it was made based on the Grand Koleos, they've created a very different car.
It's completely different.
Yes, I also think the creator is amazing.
It's amazing, really amazing.
Now let's open the engine bay and look under the hood. Actually, this car is basically the sibling of the Grand Koleos. Honestly, it's hard to find any parts that are different in terms of appearance or structure. But if you look here, how's the finish?
It's good.
The finish is nice, right? Actually,
I was thinking, was it always this well done?
This one seems especially well made.
Well...
It's well made, but you shouldn't be impressed by this. Because it's expensive.
Because it's expensive. The foreman looks like he's thinking, I'll find 5 million won. Is that good?
Because it's expensive, you need to pay attention to the finish. So, the 1.5 turbo engine is combined with a series parallel hybrid system, and I test drove it today. For sure, the direct connection feeling at low to mid speeds, and even up to the beginning of high speeds is definitely tighter than Hyundai and Kia's parallel systems. It's good, really good. Just like they're advertising this time that electronic booster system.
It's this one inside, right? That's right. Yes, yes, yes.
Since this vehicle is a hybrid with an electric mode, it doesn't have a booster that creates a vacuum. So, an electronic booster that mixes hydraulic pressure and regenerative braking for the brakes is doing that job. It was pretty good in the Grand Koleos as well, but this one has even better brake feel.
It's an upgrade.
Definitely.
It was done, I heard.
Certainly after 2 years of selling.
The number of units?
They've sold over 50,000 units, so it looks like they've made improvements based on the data. Is that correct? This brake force is hard to control in a hybrid car. That's because you have to mix hydraulic braking and regenerative braking, and then the percentage of each changes like this. The pedal pressure should be maintained consistently in proportion to the duty value, but in the case of Korean cars, it's not really that satisfying.
That part was even smoother.
This one is much better.
Because
right now I'm driving Palisade.
I'm driving a hybrid, you know.
That's right.
The subscribers leave comments now while I'm at work. Oh, Mr. Banjang, I heard you bought the next generation hybrid. I think I should talk about this. He bought the Palisade 2.5 next generation hybrid. So you're currently driving it and it's the same hybrid powertrain, right? What differences do you notice?
Honestly, the parallel system in my Hyundai Palisade feels a bit, how should I put it, kind of dumb. There's a certain feel unique to parallel hybrids that feels a bit off at times.
It's a bit of a disappointing feel.
Yeah, I was wondering, why is it like this? I want to go, but something holds me back, like there's a weight dragging me down. But today, with the Philante, there was none of that, which was really nice.
Direct connection?
Yes, direct connection.
I pressed the accelerator to speed things up, and although it's just a brief moment, that's right. You're wondering, why is it hesitating like this? That's how it feels.
It's a 2,500cc turbo, and it even has 330 horsepower. But today, as I was driving around the city and going up hills, this car felt much better when accelerating smoothly in the middle of city driving. I have to admit that part. So, the horsepower has been improved a bit, about 5 horsepower, but honestly, instead of just an improvement, they probably changed the mapping a little more. Think of it as that level of improvement, and current Grand Koleos owners won't be disappointed. We've checked the hood, so now we'll lift the car to inspect the underbody. If you want to make the same cars more luxurious, what's the first thing you would do?
First, isn't it mainly about noise insulation and ride comfort?
That's right, noise insulation and ride comfort have to be better than in regular cars. So for this Philante, the main focus of the chassis is on those two things. If you look at the noise insulation, you'll see that 2 different materials are used.
Ah, this part in the front is made of plastic, and this part here is made of sound-absorbing material, yes.
And they've also reinforced the sound absorption on the inside.
Ah, a bit more.
So now, since the car needs to absorb a bit more, the main reinforcements and sound-absorbing materials need to handle an extra 500. Let's find the 500, yes, now it's reinforced.
Still, I definitely feel like it's a bit quieter.
Back then, when we reviewed the Grand Koleos 2 years ago, I said something really scary. I made a risky comment. I said it's quieter even compared to the GV70. That person compared it to Genesis. I got a lot of criticism for that, that's right.
At that time, it was really surprising.
Yes, it was that quiet.
Back then, the chief and I went to Busan, started the engine, and barely drove, maybe just 100 meters, before we turned the corner and immediately exclaimed, "Oh!"
A single right turn with the steering wheel shows how good this car's electronic steering system is.
And then, after a long time, I lifted the car up, and as expected, because it had the GF steering and another good setup, right? That's why it was good, that's right.
But what was the downside of the Grand Koleos? The car is stable and feels great to drive. However, domestic consumers still had some resistance to accepting this kind of solid and stable ride comfort. They do.
Younger people relatively liked it, but when it comes to ride comfort, most people prioritize softness first.
We prefer something soft, like a waterbed. So, what did Grand Koleos do to solve those issues when it came to the Philante? This time, they applied a frequency selective damper.
It's a frequency selective damper.
Yes.
You've probably heard about it a lot, but let's hear it once more from the team leader.
A frequency selective damper has a flow path inside the cylinder where the shock absorber's rod moves, and by narrowing or widening that flow path, it controls how quickly it responds. So, the frequency selective damper changes the damping field depending on road conditions, driving circumstances, and speed.
That's right, depending on the road conditions.
Then team leader?
So the regular damper or mechanical damper that people usually talk about, does it work the same way regardless of the road conditions?
That one too with this McPherson type, huh? Basically, these days they have an amplitude selective system built in, and a multi-valve system is included. Because, as I've shown you a few times before, the shock absorber stands upright, and the caster angle comes slightly forward like this. And if it only moves in this state, then you wouldn't really need that kind of function. But when it goes around a corner, oh, everyone.
Everyone, take a good look here, right here. Please show it just once, team leader.
So what happens when it goes around the corner like this?
It turns together.
The caster angle comes into play again, yes?
Yes.
When the caster angle changes, the camber also changes.
Then.
The direction this rod moves also changes, right? The direction changes based on this reference point.
You're right.
So now, modern vehicles have valve control technology that adjusts according to these angles. So even though Grand Koleos only went up to that version, it still felt really good. I really like that feeling. To be honest, personally, the current feel of this frequency-sensitive damper is quite similar to Hyundai cars.
Haha, in a way. Could we interpret this as Renault also listening to Korean consumers and changing it to a softer version?
Now that I see it, yes, it had to be that way. Because the manufacturer is the same after all. It's Mando.
Right.
Want to see the logo? At first glance it might seem unfamiliar, but mechanics recognize the manufacturer instantly.
There's a dotted line inside the red border.
Could you compare it with this logo? It's the same, right? Yes.
This one is the LX3 Palisade.
This one is from the Palisade.
This one is from Grand Koleos. Finally, Mando is good too, right? Well, it's good.
It's good, but personally I prefer the previous style a bit more.
You prefer a bit of a harder and more honest feel, and through things like this, you can definitely get a sense of the car's ride comfort, right?
Now that the damper is here, it feels similar. Thank you. As you can see, I'll talk more about the knuckle part and things like that from below later.
There's a secret.
The brake uses the same hardware specs as Grand Koleos. It's a 320mm disc, about 29 or 30mm in size, and as I mentioned before, the pad swept area is pretty big.
Yes, this means the volume that can grip the disc surface itself is large.
The disc surface area gets bigger, this disc does. If you look at imported cars, this is called the pad swept area, and the area that touches the brake disc is wide. In the case of BMW, the hub is small like this, and the disc surface is extremely wide like this. They say the closer this pad is to a square, the better.
Is it because it covers a larger area, so the performance itself is better?
That's right. A wider pad not only improves braking, but also, the closer the pad is to a square, the better it is for vibration and braking stability.
That's right.
The closer it is to a square. So when designing pads, we look at this and call it the pad aspect ratio, but domestic cars are still a bit lacking in this area. Older Renault vehicles were like that too. The surface area is relatively wide. So they are definitely still doing well in this area.
They're still doing well, and I hope they keep up the good work.
I hope they keep doing well consistently and continue to do so in the future.
I hope we don't mess around with things like this in the future either. Renault, who is sincere about driving and performance. Now then, what are the differences in the rear suspension?
For the rear as well, let's first take a look at the materials here.
Oh, for the rear this time, the entire area is covered with sound-absorbing material.
Yes, is there a reason for that? If you touch the rear like this, what is it? A lot of road noise from the tires rubbing against the surface comes in through the rear. So even for a compact car, it's better to add more soundproofing material to the rear.
Usually, even compact cars that are notorious for saving on parts will have a wheelhouse cover in the rear, and in the case of the Philante, it has a wheelhouse cover with sound-absorbing material applied.
Yes, that's right. In the rear, even though it's a hybrid system, it's still two-wheel drive. Looking at it, the brake discs are just 300 mm, 300 mm, and, well, they're single type.
You can see that it's a single type, not a double or two-layer disc, but just a single disc.
And if you look over here, you can see the rear damper and shock absorber, which are also something you've probably seen a lot before. Yes, so for the rear mount, of course, in this class, they've used aluminum. If you look, it's an aluminum mount. And here too, you can see there's a single logo. The red one, yes, so it's equipped with Mando suspension.
There aren't several types of Mando, right? It's really just the one that can be used.
There are several options. Since Mando doesn't just supply shock absorbers to Hyundai, Genesis models also use Mando parts. They also have grades from level 1 to 5, and the manufacturer buys and uses them. Of course, it would be best if they use the top grade level 5.
From what I heard, they said they put a lot of effort into it.
Let's do this and take a look below. Okay.
Alright then, let's start analyzing Philante's body in earnest. But what's amazing is that you can see a completely flat floor, which we used to only see in high-end cars.
That's right. If you look underneath, the engineering is really impressive. We talked about this with Grand Koleos as well, and it's really good.
In the past, when I explained this, I actually showed you an Audi vehicle as well.
That's right.
It's well made, so anyone can see its quality, even without expertise. It's obvious just by looking.
It's made flat like this, but we've removed the cover just to show you. Should we take a quick look at the cover? Yes.
Right now, the cover is attached in the middle, and we haven't removed it here. This is the front undercover,
And this is the rear part. Starting from the fuel tank to the end of the rear underbody, up to where it begins, it's all covered by the front cover.
This part here, between the wheels and behind the fuel tank, is the area that's been removed, right?
It's blocked off from here to here, right?
It's blocked off, and this rear part is about this much, as you can see now. What do you think?
It's great, since only Hyundai and Kia electric cars are blocked off like this.
That's right.
Yes, there is a front cover, but Hyundai and Kia cars don't usually go this far.
The full undercover level rarely goes that far.
The fuel tank is exposed on all models in the standard lineup. And then, even underneath where wind resistance creates turbulence, only the Genesis lineup has these kinds of aerodynamic panels. That's right. Yes, I really want to give a lot of praise for this part.
So even if we say it's a full undercover, domestic cars now have covers up to the front subframe and the middle underneath, but there's still a difference when it comes to the rear part.
Domestic cars don't have it from here to here.
You're saying that only something like Genesis has that, right? Wow, but the size of the underbody panel is huge. It's just crazy, really crazy.
That's right. The cover here blocks it so the air flows smoothly. Would you like to touch this underbody panel? See how solid it feels.
That's why 2 years ago when we saw the Grand Koleos' underbody, we were amazed. At that level, you couldn't see it unless it was a premium car, and we faced a lot of criticism for that.
It was good and all, but we also got a lot of criticism.
We also received a lot of compliments. Now,
So if you look here, this one also has the perimeter subframe.
yes.
It has the perimeter subframe, and it's actually a bit similar to Hyundai's extended perimeter subframe.
This side,
Yes.
so
The H member is included.
the H member, it's very similar to the third generation platform.
That's right.
The front part is slightly open, yes.
And then they used a frame connected with bolts at the front and designed it so that the radiator support panel would be supported on top of this. So the structure is very sturdy, just like a modern car.
Yes. Here's a twist. The black part is the engine side.
This side is the engine, and that side is the transmission.
If you're seeing this for the first time, you might think the bigger part is the engine, but actually the black part is the oil pan area, and on the left side you'll find the transmission, and the electric motor would be up here.
But do you remember what I said when we discussed the Arcadia?
The structure's packaging was done very well.
Even now, if you look at this one, the packaging is really good too.
When I talked with the director, the moment we started talking about packaging, I tried tapping here a bit. Fitting everything into this frame is now the manufacturer's challenge, right?
That's right. So what do they do to fit it in? To improve packaging technology, they change the design, make the parts smaller, and miniaturize them. So they have to maintain performance, make it smaller, and make it lighter. That's what packaging technology is. In this case, a patented technology has been applied. It's a series parallel hybrid system, so it has a 3-speed transmission. If you look, Hyundai cars have a motor about this big. Yes, it's exposed.
Over here.
So what happens? The transmission gets pushed back that much. So the transmission would stick out more. But in this case, those parts are integrated, right? It's all in one now. The transmission and then the motor.
Because the reducer is integrated.
How?
If you look at this packaging, now that you've explained it, the subscribers will understand, but they might ask, why are you asking this question? Is there a reason? Even the Palisade that Mr. Banjang bought is a large vehicle.
Yes?
Transmissions in mid-size and large vehicles differ in size.
That's right.
It's because of the size that it couldn't fit, as you mentioned.
In the case of this vehicle, it has a 3-speed transmission based on an electric vehicle reducer. So it's really smooth, honestly. If I had to compare, it feels like an 8-speed or higher transmission.
Simply put, there was a lot of talk when it first came out, but after driving it, the 3-speed transmission...
When you drive this, it's so smooth that you might wonder if it's a CVT. Yes, it's really smooth. For example, the Palisade Hybrid I drive has a 6-speed transmission, and it feels quite sluggish in comparison.
You can't just compare them by saying, well, that one has 6 speeds, this one has 3. It's more complicated than that.
It feels really sluggish. Sometimes the RPMs go up uncomfortably high, and other times it shakes a bit at low speeds. There are some inconveniences like that, but overall, I was quite satisfied. If this one has been running for 2 years without any major issues, then it's a good one.
It's already been 2 years, and the sales numbers are significant enough not to ignore. Back then, there was some vague anxiety, but now it's at a stage where it's being proven.
That's right. So as you can see, this is held well by 2 engine mounts, which you like. There's one here, right?
And there's one over here.
And if you look here, the finish that's been precisely machined is really nice. Look at the finish on this bushing, and the precision of the machining here is really impressive.
By the way, the reason I mentioned there are 2 like this is because even for large vehicles in Korea, cars with really high engine torque were divided into 2 like this.
Yes.
So this 2-part system is usually a structure you can see in high performance or high horsepower vehicles. Now,
And in this price range, but the price range has gone up a bit now.
it went back to 5 million won.
Yes, that's right, because it's the same for the Grand Koleos.
If you look at the front member on the front side, it's aluminum. Wow, you're talking about the upper part, right?
Yes, that's right.
This one,
This one,
hold on a second. Wow, you're right. It's a part you can't see. Yeah, that's enough.
the front support frame is alloy, and this support frame is a bit long. Because now, since they're producing multiple models on a single platform, they cut it off here. And from here to here, it's a multi-platform. And from here on, it's a platform that can be used to make different models. This is the base, and these days manufacturers make it modular like this. But if you compare cars that use aluminum castings like that, then you have to look at Genesis or similar brands, both domestic and international.
Genesis comes up again? Yes. So in that regard, it's really impressive. Some people who only looked at the bottom of this CMA platform said, hey, isn't this just an extension? But you can see there's reinforcement here too.
That's right.
They even paid attention to invisible parts like this frame.
That's right. And also, you know how there are extended platforms like this 3rd generation platform? This also has a marketing aspect. Because, for example, Volkswagen still uses the H-frame, but it performs well in crash tests. Ah, I see.
In our previous experience with the ID.5 and similar models, they had the same structure.
So when we say it's safer, you should know that this isn't the only important factor. Now, if you look at domestic cars, though I keep mentioning Genesis, which might be a bit much, when you press the brakes firmly,
Press it firmly.
if you look at the heat shield, it's also made of alloy. From which car does this alloy start being used? It starts with Genesis.
Then, sir, is it okay if I take this off?
For the Palisade, it's just a steel plate. Steel plate is a steel plate. Now we're going to work on another car.
This is the Palisade. Oh, this kind of steel plate.
Yes, just the regular black steel plate goes in.
Ah, but yes. Somehow it's amazing.
Yes, so Renault and the knuckle. The knuckle is made of aluminum alloy, similar to mid-sized domestic cars. There's aluminum alloy here. What did we say the base of this car was again? The CMA platform is Volvo, right?
Volvo, yes.
It's Volvo, and Volvo uses a European platform. So the structure where the strut, shock absorber, and knuckle are combined is the same as European vehicles, right?
Wow, that's an important point. One of the things we were so impressed by back then was, well, there was this concept, but usually this kind of structure, this penetrating structure, is something we've seen a lot in high-performance vehicles.
European vehicles. Because, you know, when a car takes on weight like this, yeah, when it does, the shock absorber supports the car's weight, so it receives the load vertically from below.
Yes.
If it's combined in a way where the male and female parts fit tightly together like this, right, it would feel stable, right? That would be good. This structure is now widely used in European cars.
That kind of structure.
Yes.
So I was like, I don't know. So I'll explain it to you myself. There's a Palisade knuckle here, and it's a knuckle. Yes, there are knuckles. Now you're completely recreating it right now. Yes, ha ha ha. So if you look here, there's a knuckle, and this structure is fastened from the side. So the middle is just connected by a bolt like this.
That's right, exactly this.
Method. So then,
This part would face enormous load.
but you see, that's not the structure here. The structure coming down actually goes all the way through the inside.
That's right. And the end point here is closer to the vertical point coming down. So there's a bit of a difference in the design. Usually European cars are designed like this Philante.
Then, Mr. Banjang, I suddenly got curious. We just confirmed that Hyundai uses that structure, right?
Yes.
Then, how about this structure in the domestic premium brand, Genesis?
Genesis is like this. With Genesis, it feels like the conversation keeps going the same way as 2 years ago. But starting with Genesis, they use this method.
Isn't there a reason for that?
Because you have to consider stability.
Stability.
Stability, driving, handling,
Like this.
you have to consider that. Of course, among foreign cars, yes, there are some good cars that use the same method. It's not that there aren't any.
Because very outstanding people designed it. It's not a matter of right or wrong. For typical high-performance vehicles, and even for premium cars in Korea, they prefer this kind of structure you're seeing now.
That's right. Only when it comes to the McPherson type.
A more advanced version of the McPherson type is...
Here, if you go with an even narrower method, that's the double wishbone type. Also the lower arm is a bit disappointing. For the lower arm, since I think the Philante is a completely different car, how about using an aluminum alloy at least for the lower arm? It's over 5 million won more expensive, with about an 8 million won gap for the expensive one. I had higher expectations for things like this rather than the glass roof, so once...
Maybe the structure would have needed to change a bit, that's what I think. It's not an easy thing to do, right? So I think people are saying that it would have been better if these parts were a bit more emotional, and if the soundproofing was better, it would have been even nicer.
That's right. That part was a bit disappointing, but that's how it turned out. And during the Grand Koleos, in a way, this became really famous because of that. The manufacturer didn't reveal it, but we found out. Ah, yes, it has a GF electronic steering system. Now,
the MDPS is right here, under the manager's finger. Yes, in this part. Actually, it's not that the R-Type or C-Type emphasized this. When you're actually driving, you get a firm, stable feeling in the center. There's really nothing much to talk about. And you wanted handling that allows you to steer linearly according to the shape of the road, right? The Grand Koleos showed that handling very well. That's right.
The Philante also uses this. And since they're using reliable parts from a reputable company, it's bound to be good. How about the BYD we drove recently? It was great once it had the GF, right?
In a way, when you have quality parts and the engineer's amazing tuning skills combined, the consumer
feels good?
That's how they feel it, right?
So that's one thing, but is this an R-Type? These days, it's hard to find a C-Type, except for compact cars.
Right now?
We've switched to R-Type now, right? Yeah, but even though the R-Type has gotten a lot better than the C-Type, it's still not perfect. So we've moved to R-Type. Domestic manufacturers are using R-Type MDPS, and my car is the same. For example, in the new Palisade, it also has R-Type. So how is the R-Type? It's a four-school system. It uses a belt-driven type, which is a good method. Definitely the latest.
Latest.
Yes, but but it doesn't feel like the latest.
So how do we do this sincerely?
People who drive these European cars or those who drive the Grand Koleos will understand. You drive on the highway at 100 kilometers an hour, and when you hit a gentle stretch on the highway, you just hold it and make a slight adjustment to the level you want, and it needs to allow for that fine-tuning. With systems that can't do that, you have to keep adjusting. If you turn it one way, it overcorrects, and turning it back just repeats the issue, making it feel unstable and tiring.
So, if I can give you a hint when you watch our test drive reviews, if Mr. Banjang is driving with both hands on the wheel, it means the car feels a bit unstable, but if he's driving with one hand, it means it's a car you can trust.
That's right.
Not paying attention, some people get confused between that and this. My car is fine, but if you try riding in another car, I think you'll understand what I mean. That's right.
So if you look here, you'll see that it uses GF's belt drive system. It's applied here, and really...
It really surprised us.
We were surprised, and they did a great job packaging it. They completely embedded it behind the cross member, and on top of that, there's another cross member for reinforcement. The H member doesn't just end here. It's kind of like a mini hash-shaped square.
There's a big flat plate inside, and in between that...
They've built the MDPS directly into it.
That's how they set it up. Are you saying the design is good?
That's right. This position means it sits very low, and the center of the MDPS itself has also been lowered significantly.
The reason I just laughed for a moment is because last time, in one of the cars we looked at, this system was actually outside, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it felt like there was a bunch of stuff hanging outside. Oh, you're talking about that time. It reminded me of that brand, but when
we look at European cars...
How does it feel when you try it?
They've packaged it really well like this.
Nevertheless, it's smooth, and not long ago
How was it when we did Acadia? That big car had the MDPS perfectly and precisely positioned underneath, right?
It's amazing. It's a full-size car, but they managed to package it all in there perfectly.
That's packaging technology. And the spot where the cross member bolts end is right here. Yes, there are two more here.
Besides here, there are one or two more in the back.
There are two more holding on each side.
On both sides, the two at the end by the foreman's hands plus 4
are being held, right?
And what's the reason for using 4 like this?
Because this bolt, the cross-member bolt, let me explain it simply. The cross-member bolt is this big. It's really that big.
It's this big.
So now, When this goes in, the threads start from here, right? So it's holding here, but this space is empty.
Down here.
When the car gets lateral force, the bolt bends like this. How do we keep this bolt from moving? We reinforce it by putting 2 here.
So that's why we put it here, right?
If the bolt is inserted this way and 2 are fastened here, the extension frame helps support the lateral load, making it less of a burden for the original frame.
Wow, that's engineering design, right?
So when I call customers today, what do I say? I tell them not to do things like inserts. These days, cars already have this, yes.
Back in the day when it used to be loose, right?
I keep telling customers not to tune cars like in the old days when there was no reinforcement and things were loose. Even though I say this, they just go ahead and put it in something that doesn't even move. That's how it is, yes.
Isn't that a bit too much?
That's why there are so many scam ads now.
Not everything is like that, but you need to know the underbody of the car you're going to buy, right? If you do that with the Philante you're looking at, you deserve a good smack.
That's right, it's unnecessary, it's not needed. Still, the stabilizer we always talk about is the same. It's the same as the Grand Koleos. Yes, it uses the same specs. So the front stabilizer is about 28 mm, yes, 28 mm. If I keep talking about this, I end up criticizing domestic cars again. But my Palisade is 24 mm, right?
So before that, I understand there's a 4 mm difference between 28 mm and 24 mm. What does the stabilizer do?
All right, the stabilizer is...
It's located between the wheels.
It's the spring linking the wheels and suspension in the middle.
Connecting them all is called a bar.
That's right, it's this spring. But our roads aren't as straight as railroad tracks when driving, right?
One side can wobble a lot and so on, right?
Then the suspension keeps twisting.
While you're driving, right?
It keeps twisting, but when it does, doesn't it have to return?
It has to come back.
The stabilizer is what creates the force to bring it back.
So it acts just like a seesaw between the wheels, right? Then depending on the thickness of the seesaw and the material of the seesaw, right? Does that make a difference?
Correct. The quick restoring force means that even without electronic suspension, a good car still feels balanced when driving.
I see. So 24 mm and 28 mm are different in terms of hardware, right? And generally the thicker one has greater restoring force. That's correct.
But that doesn't mean that the thicker it is, the better. It needs to be matched to the class and weight of the car. And this one is sturdy and well fitted.
So when we talk about ride comfort, the 3 key elements are the spring, the shock absorber, and the stabilizer. It's about the harmony between these components, right? Generally, it's not just about having a thicker stabilizer, but how the shock absorber and spring are harmoniously set up with it. That's what's important.
So when it comes to restoring force, even when the car tries to twist from its normal position, if it's held more firmly, it will twist more stably. So the torsional rigidity of the suspension, the torsional rigidity created by the spring and shock absorber, that's what the stabilizer does. Remember the Aston Martin we drove before? It had a variable stabilizer, right?
It was insane.
What about those cars? When driving comfortably, the stabilizer loosens and reduces rigidity, but at high speeds it tightens and increases rigidity. That's their system, right?
So in a way, when you feel a sudden jolt, or for extreme cases like hitting a pothole, it might be an extreme case, but still. Anyway, when you're in a typical situation and the car rolls diagonally, the ability to recover quickly in those moments comes from the stabilizer underneath the car.
That's right.
Sway bar.
Anti-roll bar.
Anti-roll bar. Elders also call it a sway bar. It's the same thing. That's right.
So that's how it's set up. Both sides are well covered, but as I mentioned during the Grand Koleos as well, the battery design technology is really excellent.
The technology used to design the placement right in the center. That's right.
Because it's a hybrid power system, a powertrain, they just gave up 4WD and filled it in here. But on the other hand, it's a bit disappointing that the 4WD version doesn't have a hybrid system.
That could be a downside.
It's a bit of a downside, but they did a great job picking the location.
Usually, it used to be under the floor in the center, or behind the seats, or behind the rear seats.
Correct. Then the heat shield that Mr. Yomot loves. Since there's nothing more to add about the heat shield, the material is one thing, but just look at this thickness.
You're right.
Look how sturdy it is. You really have to make it like this to call it a car. You really have to make it like this, seriously.
They did a good job.
Yes, and if you look at the exhaust line, you can see they made it rectangular like this to keep it as horizontal as possible.
Oh, you're right. It's not round.
It's a rectangle, and even the pipe bending here is rectangular, as you can see here too.
Ah, it's done.
Yeah, they've bent it into a rectangle like this to avoid lowering the ground clearance. That's right, isn't it?
Now that we're here,
From here on, since there's enough space, they used a cylinder. That's right.
Up to the back here, it looks like they pressed it down for this kind of design, but since there's more space here, it changed to a round shape, right?
That's right. And if you look here, from the front exhaust manifold all the way out, there's not a single spot where the heat shield is missing.
The parts that get really hot need to be insulated from the heat, so that's why they're completely wrapped up.
That's right. It comes out like this, just like during the Grand Koleos. Would you like to see the back?
It goes like this, and now let's go to the back.
Is the car frame visible from the back center?
Oh, wow, they've completely blocked this off. This area usually looks really empty, right?
It looks pretty empty, but they've also rounded off this part here.
They really did a great job here.
They did a good job, right?
Oh, well, this doesn't have a huge impact on the car's performance, but these are inconveniences you can actually feel. For example, in the summer or even normally, the floor gets pretty hot, right? Because the heat rises up.
So in that regard, they've done a really good job with things like this. Also, they've properly shielded the fuel tank and stuff like that, which is really impressive.
I think it's really hard to see this level of quality in regular cars. Yes.
I think we should be able to do at least this much too.
Our country.
Cars too, you know.
I saw this 2 years ago.
We
can't help but be surprised. And even now, 2 years later, we're still talking about this.
Because we're still the same.
If we changed, we'd say, oh, that's how it was then. But we're still the same, right? We're still surprised when we see these undercarriage.
Let's look at the rear suspension.
There.
The back also basically has a more shaped subframe. It's a multi-link system, but it's not a full multi-link, is it? Right, it's not a full multi-link. If you look, the trailing arm that sets the reference point for the knuckle is connected to the chassis, which is a standard multi-link structure.
From the front, it holds here and supports the rear wheel like this, right?
This is the center, and with this center as the axis, the knuckle in the back sets the reference and moves. Yes, so it moves based on that reference, but if you look, you know what I'm about to say, right?
Oh, right now they attach this plate inside this big square-shaped frame.
On the chassis.
And inside here, there's a structure that holds it in place, and even the way the plate is fastened is with bolts.
There are even 4 of them.
There are 4 of them, and they're securely in place.
Could you take a look at the thickness of this steel on the frame? By adding this extra piece and securing it to the frame and then attaching it to the bracket, can you imagine how firmly this will hold?
That's right. You could say we've added strength to strength.
That's right.
We used to just bolt things onto the chassis.
What if you just bolt it to the chassis? The rigidity would be weaker, right? That's correct.
If you bolt this straight to the chassis without the plate, you're just attaching this part to the chassis with 2 bolts, right?
So what happens to the rear? The rear becomes unstable, right?
It's not always unstable, but at high speeds or under a lot of force, it starts to wobble and shake.
That's right. That's where the difference really shows. Exactly.
That's what leads to the driving feel.
Yes, and check out this lower arm and air deflector.
How should I describe this lower arm? The size, my hand and the foreman's hand are quite large.
It's a tight fit even with large gloves?
It's much bigger than a watermelon. It's an enormous size.
Yes. So the underbody panel also covers the entire lower arm. And you see how this space is empty here? Yes, to prevent air from swirling around here and to let it flow smoothly, they've done a good job with the underbody panel. This underbody panel, where do you see this on domestic cars? In our domestic cars?
Domestic compact cars still only have a small one.
Not just compacts, you only see this even on Genesis models.
They make it this size because it's necessary. Why would they do it if you can't even see it?
They're doing a good job. Now the rear stabilizer, it's the same as the one on Grand Koleos, but one thing to note is that they didn't cut costs on the stabilizer. That's because the stabilizer attachment point starts from the knuckle.
Right now, there's a knuckle on the outside, and right in front of it, this silver part. If you look at the bottom, that's a disc plate.
That
is attached to the knuckle.
They've connected knuckle to knuckle.
On the opposite side, they've also extended it from the knuckle all the way to the other knuckle like this.
What would be the benefit of making this longer?
It acts like a kind of lever on both sides.
Since the lever is now longer, you can control it a bit more precisely. These days, even domestic cars, up until the Max Cruise era, they used to have a long connection from knuckle to knuckle like this.
From end to end, yes.
But now they all make it short.
Why do they make it short? You seem to be holding something.
Do they make it this short now? This one's for a big car because it's large.
But no, it's way too short.
Yes, but it's still the largest of domestic cars. Is this for the Palisade?
Then, I'm curious. Whether you make it wider or narrower, there are differences in cost and various other reasons, but what are the differences? The biggest one is cost, right? Cost. And are there any advantages to making it wider?
What are the advantages of making it wider? So this is a seesaw type leaf spring, right? Yes, it actually works at the end part here.
Yes, 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 yes.
So the amount it twists as it moves here, and if you hold it in the middle, this width is a bit different.
It's like sitting near the middle of a seesaw, right?
It's different because it only moves a short distance. But the funny thing is, Genesis takes a wider approach.
Genesis must have known something.
So they don't make things carelessly. That's why they don't cut corners. Now the rest is the same as the usual method.
Yes.
The size of the cross member at the back, as I mentioned before with Grand Koleos, is very sturdy. It's really strong. But also you see these reinforcement welds and the extra reinforcements added here. These two are.
This is the same as well.
They've reinforced this section too where it bears the load.
Wow, you're right. This is also a frame, right? Together with this, the whole thing forms a rectangular frame.
The back part here is quite sturdy. So what did they say about the Grand Koleos? The back is a bit firm, right? But it's similar with the Philante too.
Since it has a sturdy structure, it feels relatively firm to us. In terms of ride comfort, it feels more solid than soft.
That's how it gets delivered. It feels solid, right? Yes, it feels solid, and in a way, that's how a car should be. If it's a bit firm like this, you feel less fatigue even on long drives, and it also feels right in terms of stability and security. It's much better, so in that aspect, it's really good.
Mr. Banjang, yes. Wow, after 2 years following the Grand Koleos, we've now seen the Philante as well. Basically, they made a well-built chassis, and now they've even made the Philante with it. It's also getting good reviews for its driving performance.
That's right. I don't think anyone would call this car's driving performance bad.
Then there's one thing to consider. With the addition of the Philante, there are now 3 versions available. Basically, you can choose the gasoline version where you can choose 4-wheel drive. Then the second one is the authentic SUV, the Grand Koleos, and the latest luxurious SUV is the Philante. What criteria should you use to decide? I think it would be a tough choice.
Well, first of all, after seeing the Philante, I think the Grand Koleos is even better in terms of cost effectiveness.
Because it has almost the same structure.
Even before that one, this one was really good for the price, but in a way, you could say this is basically the calligraphy version of Grand Koleos.
Calligraphy.
You're right. Oh, this is the premium version, but seeing this makes Grand Koleos even more appealing.
So Grand Koleos is definitely the king of cost effectiveness. Now there are 2 versions of Grand Koleos, gasoline, 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive, and hybrid. This is really a tough choice.
It's better not to choose the gasoline 2-wheel drive unless you really have to.
Please tell me about the cost effectiveness.
Because the Grand Koleos itself is cost effective, its price is similar to the Sportage. And if you add 4-wheel drive, it includes the premium ACEN 8-speed transmission.
Go for the ACEN 8-speed. Then, choosing the gasoline 4-wheel drive with the ultimate cost-effective ACEN 8-speed is the best choice.
Because I've recommended the 4-wheel drive with the ACEN 8-speed to dozens of people who were considering buying a gasoline model, and are they satisfied? Yes, they are.
Then, from the second perspective, the hybrid, you can't help but compare it to domestic cars, and honestly, it feels at least a generation ahead, maybe even more. Now,
what does a generation mean? I have a Santa Fe, you know.
Hey, you can't say it that bluntly.
Oh, really? Well, I bought it with my own money, so of course I'm going to talk about my car, whether it's good or not, right?
It's the semi-electric hybrid Santa Fe.
That's true too.
The next-gen one you bought recently, right?
Well, I own a hybrid Palisade and Santa Fe. The real reason people who actually drive hybrids buy them is, first of all, on the highway, gasoline cars also get good mileage. But what happens if you follow a hybrid car in the city? You know, subscribers, it goes really slowly. Especially with domestic hybrids, but this one isn't like that. It moves like an electric car, so when it comes to quick acceleration and deceleration, this one is much better.
The feel is much better too.
Yes.
And the last Philante.
As for Philante, I'm not sure. Today, our whole family took this car to go out for a meal, right? Even there, people had different opinions. Yes, it's different.
Even the salesperson had a different opinion. Yes.
That's right.
So this is really up to you guys, but I think I would buy the Philante. And the director still prefers the traditional SUV, right? And especially, you paid a lot of attention to the sense of space in the second row and the trunk space.
And also, in terms of cost effectiveness, try driving both cars, check out the interiors, take them for a test drive, and then buy the one that fits your situation best in terms of value for money, right?
Make sure you know the points that the foreman mentioned. And after you test drive both cars yourself, you can ask, is this my car? If you spend your money that way, I don't think you'll have any regrets at all. And in that process, you should definitely try out the Santa Fe, Sorento, and Palisade hybrids, right?
You have to try them out.
Mr. Ma, today Renault has released the new Philante and for the first time in a while launched a flagship SUV in Korea. Still, I want to applaud the fact that you don't stop in one place, but keep creating new things and developing new products.
That's right. In terms of product quality, Renault and Chevrolet couldn't keep up with Hyundai and Kia in the past.
They couldn't keep up at all.
But now, starting with the Grand Koleos, they're creating a product quality that's overwhelming. But now there's even one more model, right? So if more cars come out in the future and they keep getting better like this, those other cars will also become more competitive.
That's true.
Free competition must exist in the market.
Mr. Ma, thank you so much for your detailed analysis for such a long time today. I think it would be good to refer to what you said today when making a purchase.
Yes.
The undercarriage I admired 2 years ago is still impressive, even by today's standards. I'm even more moved by this.
It's good enough to show now. That's what I said about Volvo. Even though it's a car that's over 10 years old, it's still good compared to current vehicles. This one also uses the CMA platform, which is Volvo's CMA platform. And since it's well made, it's still being used today with some changes and improvements. It's not worse than the latest Korean vehicles. Now,
Director, thank you for your hard work today over such a long time. Thank you. We'll greet you again with a good test drive and undercarriage video. Let's say goodbye together. Thank you.
if this was helpful, please give us a like. Subscribe and turn on notifications to get accurate new car information quickly. Thank you.